It started with a whisper between friends at lunch. I was 13, and my best friend had a phone just like mine. One afternoon she leaned over, her voice low, and asked if I wanted to see something funny. I said yes, expecting a meme or a silly video. Instead she typed in a website I'd never heard of. Suddenly, there were images and sounds I'd never seen before, right there on the tiny screen. My heart beat faster, not sure what to do or say. The video was explicit, showing adults doing things I barely understood. My friend laughed, acting like it was no big deal. I tried to laugh too, but inside I felt shocked and uncomfortable. I wanted to turn away, but I couldn't. My friend nudged me, telling me it was normal and everyone watched it. That night, alone in my room, I thought about what I saw. The next day, I found myself searching for the same website just to see if it was real. I didn't know it then, but that moment would change the way I saw myself, my friends, and the world around me. The first few times I watched porn, I felt sick to my stomach. The images were harsh, the noises too loud. I wanted to look away, but the curiosity was stronger. Sometimes I'd close the browser quickly, hoping no one would find out. But each time, it got a little easier to stay and watch. After a few weeks the shock faded, the confusion mixed with excitement. I started to see porn as entertainment, something to pass the time when I was bored or lonely. It became a secret habit. I told myself it wasn't hurting anyone if I kept it private. The more I watched, the more normal it felt. Other girls at school talked about boys and kissing, but no one ever mentioned porn. I felt like I knew a secret world, thrilling and isolating. Looking back, I see how quickly I adapted. I stopped asking myself if it was right or wrong and just let it become part of my life. My mother was strict. She set rules for everything, what I could wear, when I could go out, and especially what I could do on my phone. She warned me about bad influences and checked my phone whenever she could. Sometimes she would even do surprise checks in the middle of the night. She talked a lot about purity and respect. I felt like I was always being watched, always being judged. There was no room to make mistakes or ask questions. Because of this, I learned to hide things well. I deleted my browser history every day. I kept my phone close and made up stories about what I was doing online. I grew used to lying even when I didn't want to. The fear of being caught was always there, but it was better than facing my mother's anger or disappointment. Living under so much pressure made me feel small. The secrets I kept were starting to pile up, making it harder to breathe. At school, I had a close group of friends. We were all supposed to wait until we were older before having sex. We even made a virginity pact in the bathroom one day, promising to support each other and stay pure. But things changed faster than I expected. One by one, my friends started breaking the pact. They told stories in whispers about hookups at parties, sneaking boys into their rooms, and learning what real kisses felt like. I tried to act like I didn't care, but inside I felt left behind. Sometimes I wondered if watching porn counted as breaking the pact. My friends didn't talk about porn, and I didn't dare bring it up. The gap between us grew. I missed the closeness we once had. I started to hide not just my habits but my feelings too. I was afraid of being the odd one out, so I kept pretending everything was fine. As I watched more porn, my curiosity turned inward. I started exploring my own body, trying to understand what felt good and what didn't. I bought my first sex toy online, using birthday money I saved up. The things I saw in porn shaped my expectations about sex. I thought it was supposed to be wild and loud, with perfect bodies and endless pleasure. I compared myself to the women on the screen, wondering if I would ever be like them. Soon, masturbation became part of my nightly routine. It was a way to relax, to escape from stress and loneliness. Sometimes I felt guilty afterwards, but I couldn't stop. The more I did it, the more I craved it. I started to worry that real sex would never live up to what I saw online. I wondered if I was ruining myself for the future, but I didn't know how to stop or who to talk to about it. My first real sexual experience was nothing like what I expected. It wasn't loving or gentle. I was 16 and it happened with an older boy at a party. I said no, but he didn't listen. I froze, too scared to fight back. When it was over, I felt empty and dirty. I didn't tell anyone what happened. Not my friends, not even my mother. I was afraid she would blame me or accuse me of lying. The shame was heavy and it followed me everywhere. After that night, I tried to act normal. I laughed at jokes and went to class, but inside I was hurting. I started watching even more porn, using it as a way to numb the pain. It was easier than facing what happened or admitting I needed help. I became more withdrawn, more secretive. The silence grew, making everything feel worse. As I got older, watching porn and masturbating became my way to cope with stress and sadness. It was a habit, something I did without thinking. I tried to quit, but the urge always came back. Sometimes I felt disgusted with myself, but I couldn't stop. When I finally started dating, I noticed something strange. Sex with a partner didn't feel the same as what I saw online. I struggled to feel satisfied. Real bodies were different, softer, messier, less perfect. I compared every moment to the fantasies in my head, always finding it lacking. My boyfriend sensed something was wrong. I wanted to tell him about my struggles, but the words got stuck in my throat. I kept my secrets, hoping things would get better on their own, but the more I hid, the more alone I felt. The more porn I watched, the more I wanted to try the things I saw. I brought up new positions and ideas with my boyfriend, hoping it would make things more exciting. Sometimes he was willing, but other times he seemed confused or uncomfortable. I tried to recreate the passion and intensity of porn movies. I dressed up, talked dirty, and tried to act confident. But it always felt forced, like I was playing a role instead of being myself. When things didn't go as planned, I felt frustrated and disappointed. We experimented with toys and new routines, but nothing seemed to work. The excitement would fade quickly, leaving me feeling empty. My boyfriend grew distant, sensing that something was off but not knowing how to fix it. Instead of bringing us closer, my efforts pushed us further apart. I realized I was chasing fantasies that didn't match reality. Our relationship started to fall apart. We argued more often, usually about small things that didn't matter. Underneath it all was a bigger problem neither of us wanted to name. My boyfriend felt rejected and I felt misunderstood. We stopped talking about sex altogether, each of us retreating into our own worlds. He asked me once if I was watching porn. I lied, shaking my head. I could see the hurt in his eyes, but I couldn't bring myself to be honest. The distance between us grew. I missed the way we used to laugh and share secrets. I regretted not telling him how much I was struggling. Instead, we drifted apart, both blaming ourselves for what went wrong. I realized that silence and secrets had cost me more than I ever imagined. After the breakup, I tried to quit watching porn for good. I deleted my accounts, blocked websites, and threw away my toys. But the urges didn't go away. Some nights I would give in, then feel guilty and ashamed afterwards. The cycle was hard to break. I read articles and watched videos about addiction. I learned that I wasn't alone. Many people struggled with the same things, but few talked about it openly. The guilt was heavy, but so was the hope that I could change. My mother still didn't know about my struggles. The fear of disappointing her kept me silent. I realized that healing wouldn't happen overnight. It was a slow process, but I started to believe that change was possible. Now I see how important communication is. Secrets and silence only made things worse. If I had trusted my boyfriend or my mother with the truth, maybe I wouldn't have felt so alone. I know now that honesty is the first step toward healing. I've started seeing a therapist and I'm slowly building trust with myself and others. I'm not cured, but I have hope. I want to be able to have open conversations about sex and relationships without shame or fear. I know it will take time, but I'm willing to try. My story isn't over yet. I believe that with honesty and support, I can build a better future. One where I'm not defined by my secrets, but by my courage to face them.